Welcome back to our true story series, The House, Part 3.
Be sure to check parts 1 and 2 in the description and stay tuned for more parts.
Leaving off from the status of my mom's friend from Part 2, things in the house began to grow increasingly strange, and the overall air felt stagnant and very uncomfortable to be in certain rooms. Now, when I got home from school, I was often alone for a few hours before my mom got home from work. This is also when the most interesting things would happen. I would usually make myself a snack, so the first place I would go after I tossed my books down is into the kitchen. And unfortunately, the freezer where we kept most of the snacks was in the basement. So I grabbed a cup from the cabinet, put it on the table, then went downstairs to grab some juice and some snacks. Like usual, when I get to the top step, I hear the noise behind me. I look up and see the mug I placed on the table slide across it and slam into the cabinet. Now, in previous parts, I mentioned that the two cats of my mother's friends were kind of scary, but I found out that they were sort of my protectors. Both cats appeared, going toward the spot, hissing, and then, after a brief moment, the air felt lighter and they both started purring. Still kind of scared, I decided to back up and leave the house until my mom came home. Later that night when I was going to bed, the cats seemed to be hanging out a lot by my doorway, and it was weird because they normally didn't come in my room. But I eventually fell asleep and woke up. The cats were still sitting there, and my mom's friend was pacing sort of in the middle of the hallway, not quite by my doorway, almost as if the cats were scaring her away. She paced for a few minutes, grumbling under her breath, and eventually went into her dark, cold room. My mother's friend's behavior increasingly grew strange, and my mother noticed as well, of course. They would go to the wreck and swim together and do a lot of things, but all of this drastically changed in an instant. And although we all lived in the same house, we didn't really associate with her anymore. That of which wasn't our choice, it just sort of happened. There were days like this, and then some not, some normal. And for a little bit, it kind of settled down. It didn't get better, but it settled down slightly. But secretly, my mom was looking for a place and actually found one. So she decided to tell her friend, or whatever was living inside her friend. But this is when the story gets absolutely crazy. Our final days in the house, my experiences, and the day we moved being one of the craziest days of all. Stay tuned to find out what happens in part 4, the final part of The House.